of 2NL, going back to the basics, trying to beat the lowest stakes of online poker or any poker for that matter. And we want to see what it's like. Here I'm going to squeeze King 10 suited. I want to go 13 big blinds. It is a bit loose because I don't think that I can fold out a lot of hands of the opener, but on the other hand I still think that he might call with weaker hands, so that could make it worthwhile. But yes, we are trying to play good solid poker today and go through a few population exploits. Maybe we can see a few other exploits. But yeah, okay, so we got called here. Table 2, I'm folding king 4 off in the small blind. Right, so we squeezed with king 10 suited in the small blind and we got two callers. We have two pair. Now the question is how... Sorry, here I'm going to 3-bet ace 4 suited. I'm starting with a check. And the question is, how often do we have the best hand? So the first player especially has jacks and tens in their range. The second one, well, ace queen is an option. I am going to raise this one up. Because we're playing 2NL after all. This player might have just stabbed there. And with 38 big blinds in the pot, he made it 10 big blinds. Okay, so I am going to raise this one table 2 to 7 big blinds. And now here the question is, what can we get called by? I think if he has a king, he will just call. I'm not going to fold anyway, so I'm just gonna jam. And it's good that he's tanking. And here unfortunately we do get a fold, but at least we won this first hand. And here on table 2, top right, I 3-bet and then I had a caller. And look at this now, the cold caller don't want big blind. This other guy goes 4 big blinds, but I don't really have much going, and I have 2 players, so I have to fold, unfortunately. And let's just repeat this one. I'm gonna 3-bet on the button with ace jack. And this time we just get it through. That's just nice. Table 1, 7 deuce off. Not really gonna play that one. Right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna name these tables. So table 1 is top left, then table 2, top right, table 3, bottom left, table 4, bottom right. If you would like me to show fewer tables or more tables or cascade them, let me know. For now, I think this is a decent way of doing it. It's not really great, but I still think it is the best of what I can do. Right, so here we have 9-5 suited in the big blind on table 1. There was a limper and then someone made it 4.5. Someone called the 4.5. I'm definitely not going to call this one. But it will be interesting to see what sort of hands these players have. This was an interesting one here. A flush versus queens. Okay, so this would have been a pretty nice flop for us. An open-ended flush, open-ended straight draw and a flush draw, but we folded. But you see, this is the thing now. You could say, oh, I wish I had called there with a 9-5 of spades, but then you see now you just lose to a queen and you lose to a 7, and all you have is a 9 by the river. So it looked really great on the flop, but it didn't quite materialize then. And there's serious money going into the pot, and by serious money I mean serious big blinds, because obviously we're playing 2NL, that's 1 cent, 2 cents. So we're not talking about the big money, the big bucks on this one. And he got called, and he had the straight there. He had the best straight with king queen. Okay, table 4, bottom right, we have pocket 8s in the big blind. Let's see what we'll do now. Okay, there is a raise on the button. I could call, I could 3-bet. I'm just going to call now. Definitely starting with a check. This is a board that he can bet, he can check. We do have showdown value, no need to turn this one into a bluff. So we'll just continue with another check. And when he bets again, first of all, let me see here, table 3, we'll just call in the big blind. And when he checks again, I'm just going to go with a fairly small bet. And on table 3, we're just checking our ace-5. This is not the flop that we were hoping to get. And now we can fold, and we can fold on table 4 as well. Yes, do let me know if you prefer me to play the 2NL, or if you'd like more 25NL or 50NL or any other NL. Because I tend to mix a bit, but 25 seems to be the main one that where I found a sweet spot. But I do want to always come back and revisit the 2NLs, because this is the basic. This is where a lot of you are playing. I might actually write something in the comments. Queen 6 off, we can fold. So we have ace queen suited, and we're gonna 3-bet this poor guy for a 3rd time now, I think. And we have ace king on table 3. That's a good flop from my hand, I would say. Definitely starting with a range bet. I'll go slightly bigger than just 3rd pot. Unfortunately, we get a snap fold. Okay, so I'm just advertising for the stream a bit. So we are getting min clicked, and there is a call, so this is an easy one. We can just jam now. If there is the dead money hopefully in there, we have a hand like ace king, definitely just going to jam. This guy just min clicked it to 5. I expect both of them to fold, to be honest. Yep, and that's what's happening. So that's great. We're just getting 10 free big blinds without any contest. That's what you want with ace king. Okay, we have ace queen once again, so let's just 3-bet ace queen for value once again. Okay, this time the flop's not that amazing for us. I am going to start with a check now. I normally do like to range bet, but these are such low cards and I don't necessarily need to fold out a lot. I don't need that much protection. Of course, he could, if he has Jack 10 or so, he could get there. But this is actually quite good with our ace high now. No reason to bet. We're not going to get called by anything worse. We're not going to get anything better to fold. So just check behind, and he has ace jack. So we got a bit unlucky there at the end, but that's what I meant. Like, I thought with ace queen I was good, and if the run out hadn't been so terrible, we would have done okay. Okay, I'm just continuing to advertise my stream. So let's see, hopefully someone's coming from these tables. Say hi in the chat if you are watching, and if you are playing, or even if you're not playing, just say hi. Would be nice to hear something from someone. Okay, and we have ace king once again, and there is a limp, so we are now going to make this one quite big, 7.5 bigs with ace king versus a limper. And we get a fold, that's fine too. Pocket jacks and queen jack. Okay, queen jack, I would have opened it, but with an under the gun raise, this just goes into the muck, and that's very important to understand that you don't want to call behind or to get too out of line with queen jack against an under the gun raise. So here we have ace 10 off, which we can raise against the limper. And we have jacks with 3-bet jacks. Decent flop for us. We only have second pair now, but we have an open ender. And he decides to lead small. Okay, well, I think nothing else for me to do than to call. I'm alright with this. He might have a hand like queen jack, jack 10. So I win against jack 10, I lose against queen jack, but because we have the jacks there, it's still good. Now I'm feeling less good about this, but especially because he's betting so big, but we still have the open ender, definitely going to call. And on this river, this is not great. So now that he checks, I think I'll take my showdown. If he has a queen, I don't think I'm gonna get him off that anyway. He would have to shove, so I'm just going to check and hope that he was bluffing. And he was, jack 10 off, so that's exactly what I said. If he has jack 10, that's great. So it was fine. Shame the jack didn't come. I would have had a set against his 2 pair. So there's only 3 players left now. And no action with our ace queen. So hopefully some more players will join us. I am going to raise 5-4 off against this player. He's been rather passive so far, I think. And he does fold. That's great. We have 5-4 again. This time it's suited on the button, definitely going to raise. And we get 2 calls. Unfortunately, we completely whiff this flop. 3 overcards and not even a heart. So if it checks to me, I will just check this one back. But this is going very slow, so yeah, I'm just checking it back. Against 2 players, I don't want to do that without even any backdoor equity. Now we have bottom pair. This is now a better spot for us. Now, after they check twice, it's unlikely that they have much, so they might have some showdown value. I'm going to start bluffing this one. Gonna go with a small overbet and then follow it up on the river. We might even get called by a draw. Okay, the small blind calls. And on table 2, we're just going to check our bottom pair. Ooh, look at this now. I overbet, the small blind calls, and now the big blind puts in a massive raise to 43 big blinds. So, okay, I think this probably didn't go very well. Right, so here we have still bottom pair, flush draw, straight draw now. I'm just going to check, and now we backdoored into a flush. Which is nice. And unfortunately, this player now puts in a massive overbet, but I think I have to call. He might even have a weaker flush than me, so I definitely beat some of his value. I beat some straights, so I am going to call this one. And he had absolutely nothing. So that's great. Well, that's fine. Okay, let me just 3-bet queen deuce suited against the small blind raise. And we have pocket jacks on table 3. Okay, so we are going to start with a range bet. We are going to 3-bet pocket jacks. Now with the ace there, we're going to go quite big. Don't think we need to go super big. 18 big blinds should be fine. Okay, we got cold called by the big blind. We have pocket jacks, so let's just check. And this one got through. That's great. Continuing here with a check. So yeah, when the ace comes there, that's such a good card from my perceived range that I'm very happy to continue barreling there. And now he bets half pot at this point. I'm not feeling great about it, but I do have to call once. And this 6 on the river shouldn't change anything. So he now either has an ace, pocket tens, but I don't know what he had. He just checked behind and we won it. So yeah, what you can see here, so the way to win at these stakes, like the really tiny ones, is to play solid poker. Right, what do we have here? We have a gut shot. I'm going to continue that thought very soon. So I'm just gonna call even though it's only ace high. But now I can just go for, I can just represent something. Okay, here we have, okay, this is a pretty bad card because I'm not gonna get him to fold a 9. I'm still going to bet small. Because if he had a draw, yeah, I can get him to fold this. This is Great. So this was just an exploit here. Like I didn't want to go too big because then I isolate myself against the top of his range. But if I go small there, then if he had some sort of a draw or the pair that's now counterfeit, then I can get him to fold. Right. So here I isolated King 10, got two callers, didn't bet the flop. Now the ace comes on the turn, which is really not great for me. I mean, it is for my perceived range, but not for the hand that I have. And now this guy makes it 14 big blinds, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Unfortunately, I got unlucky with this turn, otherwise I would have continued. Look, and there's even a call there. And we would have had two pair on the river, but also the front door flush comes in. So oh yeah, he had king queen and ace 4. Okay, so the guy was actually bluffing there with king queen. Ace 7 suited. Let's raise this one up. Yeah, so I was saying like the way you beat the 2NL is to play pretty much ABC with a little bit of a twist to it. Like you can try to exploit a lot. You notice what mistakes players make and then you exploit them. But basically, if you just know roughly how to play solid poker, this will be quite easy. So here we are on the button with a7 of clubs. We have flush draw and two overs. We get raised, which is fine. I'm definitely going to continue. He's basically saying he's got a 3 there, but not necessarily, because he could also have 7s, 8s, 9s, 5s, 4s. Okay, so on the table 2, we're just going to call. And he goes pretty big. He goes 15. That's a pot-sized bet. And the problem is now okay, here we have to fold and fold. I am going to fold this one because now we're not drawing to anything good. Like even if the flush comes in, if he has a 3 or a 6, we're losing. And it's unlikely that he had a flush draw himself. But yeah, we're still doing all right here. We have managed to make some decent exploits. Okay, Jack 10 off in the small blind on table 2. I am going to fold this one. Still only 4 players on table 1. Come on, someone join us there. 7-3 off, definitely going to fold. Queen Jack off in the lower jack will be a fold. Okay, 8-6 suited and the small blind. We're not going to play this one if someone raises. Yep, so now we can easily fold. But we've had decent cards so far, can't complain. We've had ace king a couple of times, ace queen about 3 or 4 times. Had jacks twice. Eights. I've flopped a few good hands. Queen 5 off. I'm going to obviously fold this one, even though the raise was only to 2 big blinds. but queen 5 off is still not good enough, even though actually no, we don't even have antes. I was going to say even though we have antes in play, but no, we do not have antes at these stakes. And same here, 6-2 suited against a button raised to 3x is an easy fold. What did I call this one? Jesus. I just said it's an easy fold and I clicked the call button. Well, that is not great. But if he bets now, which he does, we can check raise. I'm making it on the bigger side over 4x. And it actually turned out all right. So you see, sometimes a little bit of aggression is quite good. So that's the thing, like a lot of people think that if you play online, these small stakes that you need to always have value and you can't bluff them, and that is not true. Like, yes, they might be a little stickier sometimes than players at higher stakes, but you can still bluff them. The majority of players here are still nitty, and I don't really balance it much as such, but I do also bet big for value, which just by definition is a balancing act. So it's not like you can say every time I bet big, I just don't have anything. That's not true. Okay, so here I am 3-betting ace-5 big blind versus small blind. Here we got cold called again when we 3-bet, and I am going to start with a bet and turning this into kind of a bluff. Okay, now we got 4-bet with our ace-5 off, so this is time to back off. So now I am going to bet this one again with a pocket 9. So this is basically nothing but a bluff now. But I want him to fold jacks or queens if he ever called with those hands, or a 10. And if he calls with a flush draw, I'm okay too. And we got him to fold. I never expect an ace to fold, but if I can get him to fold pretty much anything that's weaker than an ace, that is a result. And yes, sometimes you will have a pair that's lower than mine, but in general, I think it's fine to go with to turn my pocket 9s into a bluff in that spot. Yeah, so once again, if you are playing against me at one of the tables and you would like to say who you are, then say hi in the chat here, or say hi anyway, even if you're not playing against me. Would be nice to hear from you. Oh, and look at this, 10-7 wins against pocket aces. And that must sting. But that is poker for you. Okay, we have ace-5 suited. Here we have ace-6 offsuit against what's that? Hijack raise. I have to fold this one. Okay, we can definitely raise ace-5 suited on the button. 5-3 suited, I would have raised this hand, but definitely going into the muck once there is a raise. And here I'm going to use my favorite exploit, which is when someone only raises to 2 big blinds on the button, I basically 3-bet my almost entire range there. Right here on this flop, this is not a good one to bluff. There's so many cards that connect really well there. Like Jack 10, Jack 9, 10 9, a queen, an 8, a 7, hearts, and so on. Now we do have a flush draw and a gut shot. So I think now I want to start bluffing. because we do have quite a few outs to bail us out. Even an ace might be enough, but we get called by the small blind. King 9 off on table 2, definitely folding this one. Okay, and on this river I am going to go for a bluff, because he could have a queen or a 9 or so, so I think if I go something like 19 big blinds, I can get him to fold a queen or a 9. But he check jams, so he was on this other flush draw, probably. I don't think he would ever do this if it didn't have a flush. So obviously with my ace high, I have to fold. So yeah, bluffs don't always go through, obviously. But that is okay. Pocket 8, table 2. Open these. And get called by 2 players, and this is not a great board for me to c-bet with this hand, or in general it's not the best against 2 players. Now we have an open ender. Still no reason to turn this into a bluff. I think we have enough showdown value. And look at this, we now have a set. Fortunately we lose to a 10 or a 5. But if they check to us, we definitely have a mandatory bet. I can even go a bit bigger if someone was slow playing an ace. Or they might not believe me and call with the 9 even. And again we get jammed on here. Oh, we can check this one. Interesting. Yeah, so even though we have a flush, we over straight, or not straight, a set, we overbet and got jammed on, so unfortunately this is a fold. I went for value there, but got raised and then had to fold. Okay, now it's time to ditch my 6-3 off. I wanted to ditch it pre-flop already, but I couldn't. Because they all limped. Okay, and with ace king in the big blind, we're just getting a walk, unfortunately. Right, so here we have 5-4 suited in the big blind. It's quite... This you see, this is kind of the thing where I think you just need to fold. There was a limp, they made it 4.5, he called, you go in multi-way if you call in the spot. There is a chance that the under the gun player will even raise after limping. And even if not, you're out of position and you're playing probably against 3 players there with a hand that never really draws to the nuts, or very rarely. So, at least never to the nut flush, of course. And yeah, here we would have flopped okay, and the turn would even be quite good, but still we might not even be drawing to the best hand if someone has pocket 5s or 10-7 or so, and there's a lot of money that goes into the pot. And look at this, we would have had a pretty weak boat. So interesting to see what they're doing now. So this guy triple barreled with pocket sixes, and then the player had pocket nines. So yeah, good thing we did not call there with 5-4 suited. I mean, I'm not results oriented. I would say that anyway. Like even if we had flop trips. Okay, so there is a question in the chat, and it says, hey, you said you had an exploit that when someone only raises to the big blinds, you 3-bet them huge with almost your entire range. Where did you learn that? So first of all, that's not entirely correct. It's not if anyone opens at 2 big blinds in any position. It's only if they do it on the button. And I don't 3-bet them huge, I just 3-bet them to my normal size. If anything, I'd go slightly smaller. But what I would do is with almost my entire range, yes, so you got that bit right. And where did I learn this from? This is just my own observations. I've been doing this for months now on different sites, across different stakes, and yes, it will sometimes happen that they will 4-bet there, that they have a decent hand, but most of the time I just get folds when I do that. So I hope this answers the question. We have a few more here. So hi, I'm watching you because I hope to learn something to improve my game. I come recently from GG Poker as an MTT winning player by average buy-in of $8, just 1,000 tournaments. Okay, well that's pretty good. Like I do like playing tournaments sometimes, but I play very few of them. So playing 1,000 and being a winning player at buy-in of $8 on average is pretty good. So I think you have good good prerequisites then. I said now I'm playing a 2NL on PokerStars and I just dropped 15 stacks over my first 17,000 hands. So yeah, that's interesting. Like it would be interesting to see what you do wrong there. I mean, it's probably likely, like if you played 17,000 hands, you drop 15 stacks, it is theoretically possible that you're just running bad, but most likely it's not the case. So I'll hold that thought while we're going to talk about it. But now I have pocket queens. I want to play this hand. Here we have 7-3 off. Am I going to fold? He made it 2.5. This is just, I'm still going to fold this one. It's just too bad. So let's see if we get some action. So the cutoff called. Here we have 10-8 suited. We can call with this one. Well, this is an interesting one. So let's just start with a. No, we'll just start with a check. Here we can 3-bet. Here we can fold. Here we can check now here. Sorry, I'm just a bit all over the place now. Okay, now I'm going to start betting. And here I overbet and I'm just gonna go quite big once again. And here I am going to bluff this one, because that's the only chance I can win, but unfortunately he calls, and he has, what, he called me with queen high there? He called with queen high, and what happened down here? I didn't even see this one. I did not get called, I think, or at least I didn't see it. I missed this one. Okay, yeah, so let's get back to the question there, or not really a question, but the player who hopes to learn something. So yeah, the difference between tournament and cash games is quite big in how you approach it, because if you play tournaments, you get really good at playing short stacks, and that's not really something for cash games. You need to be able to play deep stacks very well, so you do need to study quite a bit for that, and you just have to become a good hand reader, which again, like it's so much more the the game is so much more technical with a short stacking, but we got ace king here. So I'm just gonna jam because I think that they've had enough of my aggression. So with ace king off, I'm happy to jam, and if I take it down, like in this case, I'm still very happy. Yeah, so that's the thing, like tournament poker becomes very technical there, and you're quite good knowing like what hands to shove, like push fold charts, things like that. But then when you transition to cash games, it's a very different thing, because now you don't have that crutch anymore of just memorizing those tables. You have a lot more parameters, so it is more difficult as such when you transition. But I think overall it can be a really positive transition, because if you invest the time and really study seriously, that can be a very good thing. And yeah, watching this is quite good, learning some exploits, but the most important thing is to really become sound in like what ranges to open, what ranges to 3-bet, what sizes to use for your raises, for your 3-bets, 4-bets, and so on. So you need to nail those. That's just like the basics, and then you can play your ABC style and take it from there. So yeah, I hope you'll be um, a winner in these games soon. And if I can somehow help, let me know. And yeah, NT Reckless, or NTG Reckless, probably, sorry, says he called with Queen High. Yeah, that was in the previous hand. I couldn't believe it myself. I had to check whether he had a straight there, but no, he did call with Queen High, so he knew I was very light in my betting there. So I know I don't have the best image against this player, let's put it this way. So I can hopefully use that for a bigger bet when I have it next time. So, I think one of my leaks is that I'm giving my opponents, not giving them enough credit. I look often with good hands and better hands. Yes, so that is the thing. Like I was saying that earlier. So people think that, or a lot of players think that these tiny stakes have so many fish in them, and then you can just run them over by bluff catching, but that's not really the case. Players are not as loose as you might think. So yes, I think if that is a leak, and that's a leak that a lot of players have, and even I, well, not even, but I sometimes have that leak as well, that I don't give them credit for big hands. But the thing is, players, even at these stakes, tend to be nits overall. So you're more likely to get them to fold than to see them bluffing. Players in general don't bluff enough. So just do a little less bluff catching. And if you want to learn the art of bluff catching, then I made a really easy, quick video about it. It's on my other channel. If you're interested, let me know and I can send a link to it, because I forgot now what the title of it was. But yeah, I have a video on how exactly to bluff catch correctly, like what thought process to go through, because that's like a really good one. Right, so here we open King Queen, we get called on the button. This flop is terrible for our range and for our hand, so we have to start with a check. King Jack off against a 3x raise from under the gun is quite... It's not loose, but it's not amazing, so I still call it. And here I still have to continue checking with my king high, there is really not that much I can do. So I'm gonna check, and now here I am going to start. I'm just not even gonna bet too big. I'm gonna bet bigger on the river. And let's hope he didn't see that earlier. I'm going to go 2x pot with my king of clubs, hoping that he folds. And I know table 1 has been quite sticky actually, so maybe I should tone down on my bluffs. He says, okay. That's usually not a good sign. They're very... I'm not going to call with queen high like the other guy. Okay, well, thank you. Queen high. I would have loved you to call with queen high. Okay, so we got 3-bet, and then there is a cold call, even though he's short stacked. I think we can call with our pocket tens. So yeah, thank you, Devil, for folding. And as a thank you, I'm going to fold. Right, so Khalid says that GTO always works. Yes, so GTO does work. So sorry, we're going to talk about that soon. I just want to play this hand. I'm going to call because he's a short stack there, and he's just saying he has a big hand. He's betting all in now, but it's quite a small bet. The question is, does he ever have bluffs? I think he does have some bluffs, and I think he might even do this with nines or so. So unfortunately, I have to call this one. And I say unfortunately because he has a jack. Okay. So yeah, we were talking about that, not giving them enough credit. And it's not that I didn't give him credit here, but he was just so short stacked that I just got it in there. It was unlikely that he would have a jack if there were 2 jacks on the board, so that was why. Yeah, so again, back to the GTO. Oh, sorry. The first I want to play this one. Pocket queens on ace ace 9. Just going to check and play them passively. Going to check again. Don't need to be afraid of too much. So he bets half pot, just easily snapping this up. No point in 3-betting, and he had 6 high, so that was good. He did actually have a flush draw, so good thing flush didn't come in. I would probably have paid him off a little bit more. But yeah. So about GTO, GTO does work always, of course. But the thing with GTO is that if everyone plays GTO, you will never make any money. And if the others don't play GTO, which is always the case, like especially at 2NL, no one plays GTO. If you play purely GTO, you will be a winner, but it's not the maximum. So if you combine GTO fundamentals with some good exploits, that will be much better. So now we opened ace-8 suited. We flopped an ace, but we're out of position. That's not great, and even now I'm just not going to bet. Yes, I could get value from a queen and maybe clubs, but I prefer to play this one passively. Oh, we can check with ace-3. So now there is an overbet. Okay, we still have to call this one with an ace. And you can fold the ace-3 off. So him goes quite small. And when he goes so small, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think most of the time I will be behind here, or I won't be good. But pot odds are really good. and I'm calling. I don't want to turn this one into a bluff at this point because I have too bad an image, so I'm just going to call, and he did have the flush draw. So when he overbet the turn, I was right, and then because he made it so small, yes, he did get more money out of me, but basically the mistake was still on his side. For I mean, it's not really a mistake, but he overbet on the turn. He put in a lot of money there where I called, and then if he had made it bigger, yes, I would probably have folded on the river. But I still think, yeah, that was okay, whatever. Right, so is here. Sorry, just raising queen 7 suited, folding queen 4 offsuit, no, queen 4 suited, that is, folding 7 6 off. It would be fine about the link. Yes, okay, let me try to find that link. I'll post it in here, but let me just find it for you. First, I want to play this. So again, I'm up against two players. I do not want to c-bet this one. But now we have a flush draw. If they both check, I'm going to overbet this one. So that's what we're doing. Let's go 10 bigs. Got one fold. Can we get a second one? We cannot, but we're getting raised, which is interesting. Okay, jack 4 suited. I'm just going to call this in position. Okay, definitely have to call. And now we can bet quite small with this middle pair. And here we whiffed, so we have to fold. Gonna check now that the flush came in. I think this is the player who called me with queen high earlier. So I think I can go for a really thin bet against him now. I mean, this is super thin, I know, but he'll call me with ace high. If he called me with queen high earlier, he'll call me with ace high, with king high. You got queen high. And this time he paid me off with queen high. Thank you. This is how it works. Okay, so I'm going to try to find the link. Give me 1 second. I'll have to go to my channel and go back quite a while because I made that one a long time ago. Okay, so I got it. I just need to paste it now. It's 6 suited, folding this one. So I have just pasted the link there. It's called The Hidden Bluff Catching Secrets of Pros Revealed. So that's one of my older videos on the other channel, but I still think it's very relevant. And that channel, the Live Poker Guide, even though it is geared towards live poker, I think is very useful because you can get a lot of concepts that are valid for small stakes, for micro stakes, especially online as well. So 2NL, whilst it does play a bit differently to live poker, I still think that you can get a lot out of that. So if you want, subscribe to that channel. Right, King 10 off in early position is a fold for me. I know some players might open it, but it's just not good enough when you have 5 or 6 players to act behind you. This is not the best hand to continue. But Pocket Kings is a pretty good one, which we have on table 2 now. We can now obviously 3-bet squeeze. So there was a fairly big raise, 11, 14, 17, 18. Let's just make it 20 big blinds in the small blind. Queen 10 off, definitely going to fold. And we got folds all round, but that's still okay. We just made around 11.5 big blinds in this hand. So happy with that. Yeah, so sorry for my English. I'm native German, he says. No problem at all. I'm also native German, so I know how it is. I've lived in London for. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the right raise size. Here we can call with King 7 suited in this multi-way pot. We'll check. I'll continue that thought in a moment. Just going to range bet this board in position. Okay, we have top pair, not a good kicker, and a gut shot. I'm just going to check. Here we got it through with our ace-8 of diamonds. That's a good one. So now half pot bet by this player, definitely going to call. And now we have 2 pair. And I think now this is a good time to donk. Donk bet, I'm gonna make it 14 because I have 2 pair. If he has a king, he might call, he might be suspicious. The thing is, he min clicked me now. So this is really not great. So I'm getting, what's that, 2, 3 to 1, 5 to 1. I still think there can be weaker 2 pair or so. I don't think, I mean, he's saying he has an 8 there, but which is possible. But for these pot odds, I am going to call. And he had a set. Okay, he did do this with a set. Fair enough. Then the river kind of screwed me over, but it's okay. Right. So yeah, about my English, Germanness, whatever. So yeah, I'm native German, but I've lived in London for almost 17 years now. So I hope my English is okay after all this time. And I'm VPipping around 17%, says Khalid. Thank you. Yeah, that is surprising. I would have thought it's slightly higher. So if I play on other channels, so sorry, here we have pocket deuces. So I am going to call this, even though it's a race to 5x, but we're going multi-way to this probably. Unfortunately, this one player folded. And this is exactly not the flop I want to see. So it'll be a check fold. Right, so normally I know that I VPip around 24%, 23, 24. Like today, I didn't have the impression that I did less, but maybe. For example, here, ace jack off, if there is a raise to 2 big blinds, you could go either way. Because we are at the micros, I'm going to 3-bet this. And also maybe because I got scared that I'm only VPipping 17%. No, I'm not scared about that, but I'm happy to play this hand. Starting with a range bet, I think at these stakes, this is a good strategy when you're in position as a 3-bet raiser, just range bet. And if you get check raised, like in this case, you can see if I had the ace of hearts, I would probably want to continue, but we're playing against an early position raiser initially, so he might have a strong hand there. I'm going to give him credit. That's the thing, like, you don't need to fight for a lot of pots. It is okay to let go sometimes. Yeah, it's absolutely fine to just let go when you think you're behind. So yeah, after a good start, we've now lost a few hands. We got a bit unlucky, and our bluffs got called. But I still think we're doing all right. And yeah, I think if you were VPIPing around 20% and the PFR is close to that, then I think you will be doing okay in these games. So 17 is a bit on the lower side, but quite frankly, if in doubt, it's better to be on the lower side than on the higher side. Right, so 8-4 off, I'm gonna fold, and Queen 8 off, I'm gonna fold as well. I'm gonna raise pocket fives in the cutoff. Just getting folds, that's fine. Okay, Queen Jack suited. I'm not going to fold this one. The question is whether I want to 3-bet it, and it's the thing with a 3-bet is out of position that we don't get as many folds as we would like to. Players tend to overcall when they have position. In this case, they don't, but now the big blind cold calls, and we have 2 overs and a couple of backdoors. And he bets half pot at this stage. This one, I think I just have to let it go now. I tried it. This guy cold called me. His range is all sorts of pocket pairs. I'm never really ahead, and risking my whole stack to try to get him off a hand like pocket tens, not gonna do that. So just going to fold my queen jack suited. It's annoying, but I think this is definitely the best course of action. Okay, queen 9 off, definitely folding after there was a raise. Queen 4 off, gonna fold. Jack 7 off, gonna fold. So yeah, just be careful with multi-way pots like this one here. A lot of players would say, oh, I'm getting such a good price. Only one big blind to win 7.5 or even 9.5, 8.5 now. No, just don't. You're not going to win this enough. You're out of position with a terrible hand. So just fold. And that's what I did here. Okay, there's a raise. We have pocket threes in the small blind. It's another one of those where a lot of players would call, inexperienced players, but this is just a fold. There is no way you will make enough money by calling, because you would hope to hit a set, and then this other player, the original raiser, must either be super bluffy or they need to have a big hand themselves. And for all of this to come together is just quite unlikely. And then on top of that, the big blind might squeeze. And I realize chances are maybe not that high, especially at low stakes, but they do exist. Like it's still possible that you will get squeezed there. So there is like at least a 5 to 8% chance that you will get 3-bet and then you have to fold. Right, here we raise ace jack. We get called by 2 players because one of them has position. I'm going to check. He does bet half pot. And after the other player folds, we have an easy call. No reason to raise. Right here, could go either way. I think we can donk this one, because the 9 is kind of better for us. And I think I'm going to bet again. If he has an ace, it's likely that his ace will be weaker than mine. But unfortunately, oh yeah, of course, because the king is there. So at this point, yeah, it was a waste. I didn't realize that we would chop, but the idea was the right one, that we had the better ace there. I just missed that we would chop against any ace. If I had known that, I would have checked and let him bluff, because now we just paid unnecessarily high rake for a chop. But we were ahead when we bet the flop and when we called on the flop and when we bet the turn. Right, so optimal for 6 max is 27 to 29, so for 7 max should be around 25 percent, says Khalid, around 25 to 27. Yeah, I mean, optimal, listen, it is, there is no optimal as such. Like, you have to pay a lot of rake at 2NL, so that's why it should actually be a bit on the lower side, I believe. And the other thing that you have to realize is that the more hands you play, the higher the variance will be, the better player you have to be. And especially for newer players, I would advise to be on the tighter side, because you can just make more mistakes. Like the main thing for me is to try to avoid mistakes. And I've noticed that when I play live poker, I started tightening up, and my results have been much better because I have been much tighter, and I've just made fewer mistakes. I've paid less rake, so all of that was really in my favor. Right, here we started with betting queen 6, but then checked on the flop. Unfortunately, the king came on the turn. Now we're going to check call, and we are going to check call this river as well, but he did have a better queen, and he just checked with it, so that's fine too. Here with pocket 9s, we can go for a small bet. Ace 9 suited, can go for a 3-bet, but this is a bit on the loose side. We're getting raised with our pocket 9s, so fine, we're just going to continue. The 8 of diamonds is certainly not a great card for us. I mean, it's possible that he has 8s, but even more likely that he has diamonds. I'm still going to call. Do I even want to call again? I mean, he can still have some nonsense there. And look at this run out. So let's see what he does. If he checks, I will turn this into a bluff. Yes, the question is only how big a bluff. So do we have to go with more than the pot is the question. I think just under the pot will be fine. Because if he has a set, he'll be hard pressed to call. If he has a lower flush, like a 10 high or so, I don't think he will call. But my image has not been the greatest in these games today. So we'll see. And look at this. He now check jammed. Well, no, is it a jam? Kind of a jam. Not quite, but okay. So then I have to give up, obviously. So yeah, but this is kind of like I'm not following my own advice, where it's like, yes, you can try to bluff them, but you also really need to play solid poker, and I'm just trying to play too exploitatively maybe, especially because I don't really have the right image. But we have bottom set now on table 1, top left. So let's see. I mean, this is tricky. I am going to just call now with bottom set. And if we see another bet now, which we don't, so the question is, do we want to let someone bluff at this point? I think we can go for value ourselves, especially with our image. Let's just go fairly big and hope to get called by an ace. Well, unfortunately, they both folded. So I think one of them might have had a flush draw, the other one maybe an ace that he quickly folded against my big bet. Although I would still think normally they would think a bit longer. Right, King 7 suited, I don't love calling with this hand in the small blind, but we have an early position limper, so I can flick in this call. We have top pair now, and when we have top pair, could start with a bet, but I'll just check. Get punished straight away, and the flush comes in, although I don't think anyone has a flush, because I think they would have bet their flush draw on the flop. And now definitely time to go for value. We can go more than 2x, because the pot is so small. I think we can get called by a queen. Or even a 9 or an 8. And we get raised again. Jeez, okay. So we're getting, what's that, more than 3 to 1. We have to be good around 20 something percent of the time. 21, 22. Are we ever good? Does he ever do this with with the bluff is the question. I mean, I still think for this price I'm gonna call, but yeah, he did have the straight there. Okay. That's the thing, I overbet. I forgot that I overbet it. That was a mistake there. Okay, so it checks through. We have ace 10. I am gonna check again. And now they check again. So now I'm just gonna go I'm just gonna 2x it. Not almost, not quite. Hoping that someone has a weaker ace or a king that they might call with if they were pot controlling. And they all fold. Right, so Khalid says he had 5 deuce of diamonds in the pocket 9 hands. Which one was that again? Pocket 9s. I remember I had pocket 9s, but I don't remember what happened. When you play 4 tables and you talk at the same time, it's kind of like I am very present, but I forget the hands afterwards. So unfortunately, I don't remember. He said he thought he was bluffing, but honestly, I now can't remember at all what the hand was, which is silly of me, but Yeah, sometimes I make that mistake. So another one here, 9-8 suited, early position, just fold it, even if no one opens in front of you. Okay, pocket eights. I am going to 3-bet, but not to this size. This is a loose 3-bet for sure. Okay, we have ace-6 suited on 9-7-5, rainbow, got a gut shot, an over, and a backdoor flush draw. Small blind called us. I want to start with a c-bet. Don't have to, can just check behind, take your showdown with the ace high. Now, it's just continuing with the ace. Is a good card for me. He might not believe me, and I don't go too big. If I wanted to bluff this card, I would go much bigger. And if it checks now, which it does, I have run out of value. I don't think I can get called again with a weaker hand, so just checking. And he had pocket 8, so we got lucky on the turn, but we did get a little bit more money out of him when the ace came and we bet there. Okay, so he says he has to go. Thanks for the advice. Man sieht sich. Ja, Dankeschön. Thanks for watching. And you other guys, you don't have to leave. Obviously, I'm not leaving. I'm just saying goodbye to the the one player there. So I'm still here for a bit longer. Not sure yet for how long. I'll have to see. But yeah, in the next few days, I want to play some of the coin series of poker, some tournaments there. And as I said, I'm not like the biggest tournament player, but I do enjoy playing tournaments sometimes. Okay, I'm going to 4-bet my ace jack off, which is normally something at 2NL. I haven't had much experience with it. I don't know if they fold enough. And this guy definitely doesn't in this spot because he just snap jams. So then easy fold for me. Was fine to do it. Right, yeah, so I want to play the coin series of poker. This is a really interesting one that's coming up starting on Sunday for all sorts of buy-ins. So definitely look forward to playing that. Maybe I'll see some of you around. Oh, I said it was 4 to a flush. You had an overpair with 9s without a diamond, and I check jammed. Right, okay, yeah. That hand, okay, I know now which one you mean. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that was the hand that I overbet as a bluff. I mean, your bluff there is never really gonna work, I think. So like I don't want to criticize you, but I just don't think it will really work as such because you just made it way too small. I only had to call 30 something big blinds there and there was so much in the pot. And also I have a polarized range. So when I have a polarized range, then you don't want to bluff a polarized range because what's going to happen is I'm going to fold everything that you beat and I'm gonna call with everything that beats you. I would not overbet like that with a jack of diamonds or with a 9 of diamonds. I would only overbet there with the ace or maybe with a king of diamonds, but
probably with the king of diamonds I would do it, yes, because you checked that. So I'm basically trying to get you off a hand like the one that you have if I bluff. And if I don't bluff, I have the ace of diamonds or the king of diamonds. So you're not going to get me to fold a better hand, and you're not gonna get me to call with a weaker hand. So that's why, in that case, if you think that I'm over bluffing in that spot, which I probably am, then just call with your five of diamonds, because you're not going to lose to the eight or nine of diamonds or jack of diamonds. Because I said I'm not going to do that with that hand. So that's my unsolicited advice here. But thank you for letting me know that. That was an interesting spot for sure, and it's good that you thought about how to bluff me there, but yeah, you don't want to bluff a polarized range. Okay, we have pocket aces and get called in two spots. Okay, we are going to c-bet this with our aces. Getting called. The nine of clubs, not ideal. I could continue betting, but the thing is now I have to slow down just because I'm not going to get a lot of money out of him. And he is now going quite big. Okay, let me first think. So here I'm just going to fold. And here I am going to call this one because I do have top sets. He might have a set. He could definitely do this with a weaker hand. But he does have the flush there. Okay. I mean, they really got it today. They really got it today. Now I even river a flush. Not a flush, sorry, a set. And then I lose. Okay, queen nine suited. We can raise this one. Okay, here with 3-bet and we have two pairs. I can start with a range bet, and unfortunately now our two pair get counterfeit, so now we lose to a queen, obviously. But now we win again. The thing is, I'm not gonna get him to call anything weaker, so we could only chop, so I'm just going to check, let him bluff potentially, or overvalue something, and just calling this one. And he had a queen. Yep, that's what I mean by overvaluing. That is quite good. So I got some money out of him. Okay, we chop with ace 3 of hearts here on table 1. Have some decent hands to open now. So yeah, Khalid says, I don't think it makes sense to go bigger when bluffing. So I mean, that really depends like on the situation. If it's an overbet or like what case, like what the range is and so on. Right, we're getting 3-bet. I do not love this one, but I will still raise. And now we're getting 3-bet left and right. So here I'm going to just continue with a small bet. Here I'm just gonna fold this one now. Okay, now we do have the best possible ace-x hand. What do we get here? Raise a 3-bet, so we're gonna fold on table 1. And again, What can we beat? We can beat a weak ace. I'm gonna go for a small-ish bet. King Queen against an early position raise. I'm just gonna fold this, especially because I am not even close to the button really. And we win this one with ace queen. Excellent. So Harley says it wasn't an overbet, it was about pot size. Yeah, that's true. It was roughly pot size there. I agree with that. On that board, usually when I check raise the flop and barrel, I have a diamond. So on the river with 5 due, I'm at the bottom of my range. Yeah, so I definitely knew that you had a diamond there, but if I have the ace of diamonds, I want to get max value from a diamond there that's bluff catching. So that's why I think I want to go big in that spot. I'm very polarized. If I make it small, yes, I can still get you to fold there, but if I have a big hand, I want you to call. So with the ace of diamonds, I would definitely go big in that spot. Also, I normally wouldn't have thought that you would try to bluff me with your 5 of diamonds then on the river once I bet so big. Okay, here I'm just going to give up now that he bets in position. There's not that much I can do. Ace King on table 2. Raise to 4 big blinds. That's interesting. So I'm going to make this 12. 7-6 off, calling. He checks. I'm just going to check behind. Okay, so I do not love this spot here. I'm going to tell you in a second. But now I am going to overbet this. I don't love this because is this aces or kings, but still button versus cutoff. I am going to get it all in, but this does feel like aces a lot there. He does have ace jack though, you see? So that is great. Okay, so here we can now bet again. We started betting big once the flush draw came up, and now he might still call. I mean, I've been called with a lot of hands here because I've been bluffing a lot, but this one does go through, so that's good. And here with ace king, we held against ace jack, and now I'm not gonna raise again with queen jack suited. Normally I would consider it, but we just played the pot against this guy where I know he would 4-bet with a hand like ace jack, so then I don't want to 3-bet queen jack to then get blown off my hand if he 4-bets. So king 10 off, folding this one once again. So if you had the ace of diamond, I instantly lose a stack against everything else. A tough spot for you. Well, yeah, I agree with that. That's what I said as well, except that I just don't have much else there. Like you're not putting me in a tough spot at all, because with the ace of diamonds, I just snap it off. With the king of diamonds, I probably still reluctantly snap it off. And with everything else that I have, it's a bluff, and I have an easy fold when you jam there. So that's exactly my point. That's why I'm saying there's no point in bluffing such a polarized range, because it is polarized. I do not bet. If there are 4 diamonds out there, I do not bet huge with anything that is of mediocre value. So I'm not going to do that with a jack of diamonds. I'm not going to do it with a 10 of diamonds. I'm not going to do this with a set. Or if I do it with a set, then also just as a bluff. So then it's really easy. I either have a hand that snap calls, or I have a hand that snap folds. So that's what I'm said. And you said 4 cards to a flush are probably the most underbluffed boards. Yeah, probably. That's why I like bluffing them. Raising 10-4 suited, because we're probably not going to get 3-bet often enough. We have pocket aces in the big blind. Well, this is a decent flop, and I'm going to start with a check. Okay, so there is a raise. I am going to isolate this player now, even though I would love to play against the limper as well. Okay, so bricked, but we still have a pair. And we win it. And here with aces, we can just start with c-bet, get a quick call, going to continue barreling. Don't need to go too big. Let's go something like 20. If he has a set, then I'm just gonna go broke. But now we have a set, and this is annoying. I don't want this actually, because he won't have an ace now, and this is just like really, really, really annoying. Because I was gonna jam, but if I jam now, I mean, I'm still gonna jam, because he might think that I'm full of it and might still call with my image. So with my image it's okay, but if this had been a break, then I think he would snap me off with whatever pair he has. But if he has tens or jacks or queens now, or even kings, this is a really tough spot that I've put him in. But he does call, and he did have jacks, so that is great. We did get a full stack there. But on the other hand, aces against jacks, that's just how it's going to go anyway, quite often. So it was a cooler after all. Queen jack suited. We're going to raise this one up. 7 deuce off. We're going to fold this one. And we're going to start with a check though. I don't think we can really bluff successfully here. I will check raise this though. I'll go to, no, not quite that much, just 17. Here I got 3-bet. I'm just gonna call this one, even though we're quite early. And look at this beautiful river. What are we gonna do? We are going to overbet this one. And we get snapped off for our overbet, and we win it. So this is the nice thing when you... There is a raise, I can fold king 10 suited. This is the thing when you have a poor image,
then you can get away. When you then hit big hands, you can make a killing. So I got snapped off twice now, where I would say normally I wouldn't. A 3-bet ace king off. Now, starting with a check, I am going to check this one. I will have to fold my king 10 now that the player donks for a pot-sized bet there, and we have another player to contend with. And now we have top pair, so now we can go for a bet. Gonna go 16 into 22, and there's a snap fold. King queen, going to raise this one up, trying to make a pain of myself. We'll get called as a lowish flop. I'll start with a range bet. I know, again, in GTO this is a big bet or check, but I think it's hard to play against a range bet. There was a call. Problem is now, I don't really know. I think I need to slow down. If he checks, then my aim would be to try to get ace high to fold. So I don't think I have to go too big. About half pot might do it. He might still call with ace high. And that a player that called me with queen high a few times, so maybe he can talk himself into folding now. I didn't realize there was the player with a queen high who called me twice with queen high. I wouldn't have tried to bluff him otherwise. And we have pocket aces again on table 2. And again, this player who had ace-jack earlier, so I am going to 3-bet him again, obviously with my aces now. And we have ace-king, but unfortunately this time he folds, and here we get called, and he did have the ace. That's kind of what I expected. Didn't think he would think so long, but fair enough. Pocket sixes, we can raise this. Pocket deuces, I'm going to fold to a raise. We get 3-bet, and we are quite deep. That's a bit of an issue, so I will just play this one passively, because I don't want to get it in for 200 big blinds with ace-king. Now, this one I will definitely call. He's betting again. Interesting. I am going to call again. And we win. Top pair, top kicker. That's the other good thing. It's rare that a player at these stakes will triple barrel bluff. So that's quite nice. Because then you know, like in this case with ace-king there, I could call twice, and if he had triple barreled it, I would probably have found a fold.
Okay, 6 deuce off. I'm just gonna fold this one against the small blind raise. Six deuce off again, this time in the small blind. Ace 4 suited. Okay, just gonna open mid small from early position. Got two players, two customers, so I am going to tread more carefully. Now we have a gut shot. I'm gonna call in position with a gut shot and ace high. And look at this, what do you know? We have a straight. He makes it quite big. The question is, can we ever get him to call with a weaker hand if we raise here? Think it's because he made it 2/3. I think we can just call, and he had nothing really. He had a complete bluff there with 10-9. Here we open king queen on king 6-6. Definitely going to c-bet this one. Okay, we call. We raised pocket kings, got called. He bets a big blind. Okay, we can just. This is getting worse and worse for our pocket kings. He's now betting two big blinds. Okay, well, still not going anywhere. Let me guess, is it three big blinds now? Did I lose this one? I missed it, sorry. And here I went for two streets of value. I think this is probably enough. I'm just gonna check back. Yeah, I don't think such a hand would call me. Okay, we're getting 3-bet here. I'm calling with ace jack. We flop top pair. He bets pretty big. Nothing else to do than to call. And here, sorry, I'm just the 8. Yeah, I won the hand with pocket kings there, so that's why when someone makes it so. Yeah, I won the hand with pocket kings there, so that's why when someone makes it so small there on such a board, just called it down like one big blind and two big blinds. I would even have called a river bet if he had made it small. So raising ace queen off on the button against a low jack open, and he just shoves. Okay, so and easy one to get out. Okay, we have ace 10 off on the button. There is a raise to four big blinds under the gun. So I hope you would call, because if you do that, that is absolute spew. Okay, I haven't fallen asleep. It's just there's nothing
to talk about now. Action is a little bit slow, even though we are playing 4 tables. Come on. Alright, so there was some connection issue, but we are back now. We are back. So yeah, I'm planning on Sunday maybe to play the coin series of poker. Just have to have a look what sort of tournaments they have. Because I'm quite excited about that. And then they also still have the coin masters going on. So there are a few things that are exciting that I would love to watch. Or to watch, to play. To play, sorry. You can watch me. Or you can just join me. But I will play some. And then I'll also play some cash games again next week. But tomorrow, on Friday, I am planning to play some live poker at the Vic in London. My 1-3 game that I try to play at least once a week, because I do have my channel live poker guide, and I need some material for that, some vlogs. So do go and check that one out if you haven't already. It's quite interesting, I think. I'm biased, obviously, but I do think it is interesting. Right, so we've raised pocket eights in the cutoff, now waiting for John Dock to fold, which he did. And we can fold 5-4, and here on the ace high board, could go either way really, but I'm going to check. Now we have an open ender to go with our pair. I'm going to check behind, and on this river, when he bets half pot, what can he have as a bluff? I mean, some kings high, some jack highs, a 10. He might even be doing this with a 7 or a 6, so I definitely have to call. And he did have the ace, though. But I still think it's fine to call there with my exact hand. He might be overvaluing something, or he might be bluffing. Three deuce off, not exactly the hand I want to see. And I'm going to fold it even to a 2x raise. Okay, ace 8 suited. Let's raise it up. Ace queen off on table 2. And we finally get a 3-bet through. Haven't had that for a while, since we had aces, I think. It was the one time I did not want it to go through. Okay, we have ace queen off, as I said, and there was a raise from a rather short stack player. I'm just going to call in the small blind, and it's absolutely okay to call with ace queen or even with other hands in the small blinds. You don't have to play a 3-bet or fold strategy, especially not against an early position raiser, especially not here where I might have to fold if he 4-bets me. Jams, because I don't want to call a jam with ace queen, even if it's
for only just over 50 big blinds. So now we still have 2 overs. We have a gut shot. He bets 2 big blinds. Definitely calling. And now I still think we have some showdown value. Yep, and we win it. That's the thing, they don't expect you to have a hand like ace queen when you call in the small blind. We have pocket kings. And there is a limp again. So let's isolate this limper, go to 5.5. Okay, so here this guy donked into me, although what happened there? No, oh no, right. I know, yeah, so he limped. Okay, so we can just check, and now we have the nuts on this river, which is excellent. And here we're gonna fold. Right, we do have the nuts, because he makes it quite big. I want to go for glory, I think. Well, or is that too much? If he has a flush, if he has a set, he might call. It's just 2NL after all, but unfortunately he does find a fold. But I still think I want to go really big there. It's unexpected that I have such a big hand. And I thought he might be trapping there, because he normally doesn't limp, and here he limped, and then he donked on the flop. So I was thinking maybe he has ace king. Okay, here ace 10 off. I'm just gonna fold to a 4x raise. And we have ace king again. Jack 9 off, gonna fold to such a big raise. Jack 4 off, definitely also going to fold. Okay, the small blind calls us again. Our friend. And this is a flop that hits his range quite well. So I'm just going to check. And now with my 2 overs and a gut shot to the nuts, I am going to call once again. Queen is in my range now, I will tell him. Here we are going to... Yeah, but I'm just gonna check behind here. I have some showdown value, and I don't think I can really get him to fold. He did have 10-8 there, so it was fine. I played for... Okay, here we are getting 4 bet after with 3 bet king queen suited, so easy fold. Yeah, so I could have, with my image, I didn't want to bet the river for as a bluff. But yes, I could have done it, and I think against another player I would have done it, because that's why I said. So he said that the jack was in his range, which I agree with, and then the the set was, or then the boat was in my range, because I could have easily slow played queens on the flop, called the turn, and then had it on the river, but my image just isn't great at this point, so it's much easier to bluff when you have a great image. Right, so here we got called. He still has a wide range, but I don't need to turn it into a bluff now. Calling king queen. Okay, he bets really... Oh no, he doesn't bet really small. He bets 5 into 8. I misread that one. Here I'm going to overbet, and here I'm just going to call. Of course, if he has a king, we'll lose. But he has ace-jack, that's fine. Okay, so here we got 4-bet, and I think with ace-queen off, blind versus blind, we can 5-bet jam. And he snap folds. So that is a good one. Ace-4 off is a fold, jack-6 is a fold, pocket jacks and ace-7 suited, both in the big blind. They will both be playable hands. Okay, I am going to call. I'll call in both of these spots, but here I am going to 3-bet my pocket jacks. And here, because we have top pair, but I'm just going to check behind. Right, so here we can just check. Here I'm going to bet on table 2. Table 1 I'm going to fold. And I'm going to go for thin value with my top pair. And get called. Here I have to call on table 3 with my ace. And now I have 3 pair. I don't really need that 7 there on the river. He bets quite big, and the thing is, does he ever have a bluff? Why did he not bluff on the... Why did he not bluff on the flop then? So it sounds like he has a king that he was slow playing. Or is that a bigger ace? Or is it a complete bluff? I'm just gonna give it to him now. Okay, so here we have to call this one. So we bet small on pre-flop, on the flop I mean. And he shoves now. Okay, so we are getting about 2 to 1. No, sorry, not 2 to 1. I wish. 1.5 to 1. So I need to be good about 40%-ish. And that means that he needs to have a bluff, because I have... Like, what would he do this with? At least ace-king for value. And he can have bluffs. I block some of them. I'm just gonna fold here. But this is a close one against this player in particular. Okay, I'm gonna sit out the next big blind and just leave this table, because now I think they don't want to play heads up against this player, just because I have other tables and I don't like to play heads up. Because heads up you have to concentrate a lot more. The dynamics are much bigger, more involved, so that's why I prefer to not have that when I multi-table. So again, he bets quite big. He's telling me that he's got something. I have ace high only, but I will have to call this one. And he did have a king. Okay. Right, so I c-bet small with my top pair, top kicker on table 1. Now there are 2 flush draws there, the 4 paired. I'm probably still ahead, but I'm not loving it. And now this player goes quite big. I still think I need to call. And he bets pretty big again, so he basically has to bluff here for me to make this profitable. He won't do it with anything else, but I think there are bluffs, so he wouldn't do this with 7-8. I mean, he can have 8s or 7s. I do block 8s, though. He can do this potential with a 4, but even then he might not go that big. So I'm just gonna call this. And yes, he had nothing. Right, so we went for a bit of action. Table 4, but I'm just gonna check this one back. And he did have the straight there in the end. Okay, we flop top pair. He bets quite big. That's okay. We can call. King, certainly not a great hand for us. He now bets big once again. I'm gonna call again. And now we can check again. And, well, okay, he had Jack 10, and he rivered us with that queen, so he had 3 outs, and he got those 3 outs. So that was a polarization mistake of him, by the way, on the turn to bet so big there with second pair. Like, I'm unlikely to call with anything that he's ahead of, and he was miles behind, but he got there. Ace queen off, so I just messaged here again, just saying that I don't like to play heads up when I'm multi-table, because they're just too intense and I just need too much focus on them. The dynamics are just too intense, so that's why I didn't do that. So we're just playing 3 tables now. I wonder whether I should open another one, but I think not, because I don't think I'm gonna play for a lot longer. Just like for a few more minutes. Okay, so we have ace queen. We can check, we can bet. I'm just gonna check this one behind. Turn, not amazing for our hand. When he checks again, I'm happy to take my equity. And he checks again, so let's just check it. He had ace 9, so fine with that. Here I call Jack 10 off. Now I'm facing a c-bet with this open ender and a pair. I'm just going to call. Now I have 2 pair. Now I can definitely donk, because this 10 is better for me than for him. And the king of hearts, I mean, I like it that it's a king, but I don't love it that it's hearts. So I am going to still bet this one
fairly big. Unfortunately, he folded. I mean, the turn in the river were quite good for me, but if he had the hand like ace queen or so, then it was pretty terrible. The doubling of the 10 and the pairing of the 10 and then the king and the flush on the river, so it couldn't be much worse for his medium strength hands. Okay, king 10 off and the small blind, opening this. We got king 10 off again. And we can open it again. We're getting 3-bet this time by the small blind, so I'm going to 4-bet this. And we get a fold, especially when they make it 8 big blinds and the small blind is a 3-bet. That's usually not a very strong hand. So I like to just raise it up there, 4-bet. King 10 off again. I'm just getting this hand all the time, this time with the other table. And we get called by the cutoff. He loves calling us. We get called by the small blind as well. And is the big blind plotting something? No. Okay, ace high board. We're monkey in the middle. Just gonna start with a check. Okay, now the bet comes, so I have to fold my king high. Min click from the cutoff. King queen off, table 3, raising this one up. Okay, min click and a call. Check and a fairly big bet. Right, so we're getting 3-bet again, but this time it was early versus early and it's to a bigger size, so I will just fold my king queen offsuit. Right, so we're off to pretty much the last, what is it, 2 hands, 1 hand, and then we'll have to call it a night. So thank you very much for watching. It's been a blast, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Thank